A witness advised a black Dodge Journey is the subject vehicle. Shot somebody in a black BMW.
This is the dispatch call that marked the death of XXXTENTACION. This video was made per request of 2 people. So if you want to see videos on certain topics or certain people, just let me know. But without further ado, this is the story of Josiah Onfroy. Starting at the beginning, Josiah was born January 23, 1998. Growing up, Josiah went from living with his mom to living with his dad back and forth. But he eventually just ended up living with his dad. His life growing up wasn't stable, with his parents being separated and his dad selling drugs just to make ends meet. But he didn't live with his dad for long, and eventually he moved into his mom's house, and she couldn't really take care of him. You can obviously tell there was no stability in his life, but he would get that once he moved in with his grandma. And I say all this like it happened over a course of a decade, but all this happened before he was even 5. Starting in school, he didn't really get along with most of the kids just because of the differences in their life. You see, the average 5-year-old hasn't been through the same things that he has, and he even got bullied for it, and he didn't let that slide. He stood up to his bullies and fought them so that everyone else knew, don't mess with this guy. But fighting would end up getting him in a lot of trouble. It's interesting to see with all of these stories, people's bad habits catching up to them, like Jews with drugs, and fighting caught up to X multiple times.
Bro, I've been fighting since I was a kid.
But he didn't fight just because he had to. He loved fighting, and that's something that influenced his life from kindergarten to the end of his life. But as far as his early life, things weren't really getting any better. And one day when he came home from school, he saw his uncle hanging from the balcony, and as you can imagine, this hurt him a lot. Things were tough for X, and it seemed like he could never catch a break. For instance, one of his favorite things to do on the weekend was hang out with his dad, which is something X also had to give up when his dad was arrested in 2009. Him and 3 other people were arrested by the DEA for money laundering and trafficking over 450 pounds of weed. Moving on, X went to Margate Middle School, where he was constantly involved in fights, was suspended several times, and he was eventually expelled. And soon after that, his mom would kick him out of the house for failing school and always being in fights. And that's when X decided to move in with his grandma. But while he lived with his grandma, he was constantly in trouble in school and out of school. And eventually this led him to be arrested for theft and possession of drugs. But while he was in jail, he met somebody important. His name was Ski Mask the Slump God. Well, that wasn't actually his name, but like that's what people call him.
We met in jail.
Met in jail.
And the last met in jail, started rapping together.
And him and Ski would both go to the top together, which makes this story completely unique. 2 different people living separate lives, meeting at one point and both becoming successful at the same time, with both of them having successful careers just by themselves.
So XXXTENTACION means unknown temptation. The X was the only unknown numeral to me. Tentacion is temptation in Latin.
And after X got out of jail, that's when he started rapping. Ski went by the name that he goes by now, and X used to go by the name Master Splinter, which is kind of weird. And he would later go by the name
XXXTENTACION,
which, as explained in the clip before, means unknown temptation, which is what he's famously known for and would go by for the rest of his career. In 2014, X uploaded his first song on Spotify, and this song wasn't anything special. It wasn't mixed good and the mic sucked, but Josiah was determined to make better and better music. The reason why the music sounded so bad is because they were recording on a snowball microphone.
X recorded my first song. He ordered the stuff off of eBay. It was like a snowball mic. It was like the cheapest mic you could get. It sit on like 3 prongs or 4 prongs, one of those.
But regardless, it wouldn't take long for X's talent to be noticed, with every one of his songs getting a couple thousand plays and him often performing in clubs. Overall, he had a pretty good loyal audience, but his audience would expand once he released the song Look At Me.
Look at me, Hector. Look at me.
Look At Me was X's first viral song, with it having over 1 million plays on all platforms. He wouldn't be able to enjoy the fame though, because shortly after he would get locked up. The reason he was arrested was assault and robbery, which kind of proves the character that he's portraying in his songs is actually who he is. And while he's in prison, Drake's out here stealing his flow. On a song named KMT, some fans realize this song sounds really familiar. I'm just gonna let you have a listen.
Demon just got out of can. Hey, can't keep my dick in my pants. I gave my bro in advance. Hey, my don't let me know.
You can obviously tell Drake took a lot of inspiration from X. And he did this while X was in jail, so X couldn't do anything about it. But when Drake was confronted about copying his song, he said he never did and he didn't even know who X was, even though Drake said he messes with X's music. And of course, X had something to say about this. Anyways, X had a lot of beef with a lot of big people in rap, but specifically Drake and the Migos. And when it comes time to talk about X's death, a lot of people want to blame Drake for it, but there isn't really much evidence. And I mean, after all, if there was a hit put on X, it could have been anyone. A lot of people wanted this guy dead. But when it comes down to the actual death of X, this is the story. X withdraws $50,000 from the bank, goes to the motorcycle shop, and then as he's leaving, he gets shot and killed as part of a quote-unquote robbery. But to this day, we still don't know if it was a robbery or it was a hit, and there's a lot of mystery surrounding that. And it's actually believed that the guys saw him at the bank withdrawing the money, followed him, and planned to take the money. And you can even see them following him in the motorcycle shop. After he got shot, the police came there, checked his vitals, nothing. Checked again, and got a small heartbeat, but eventually he was pronounced dead. R.I.P. X. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe because I'm a small YouTuber putting out good videos like this. Anyways, that's it. Bye.